In this lecture, we are going to look at conditional formatting in Excel. Before we move on to the next visualization, which is the heat maps, we need to have a fundamental understanding of conditional formatting. And that's what this lecture is all about. Conditional formatting, as the name tells you, formats a bunch of cells based on a condition, a criteria. Only if that criteria is matched, the formatting will be applied to it. Let's take an example here. The first column that we are having is of a few numeric values from 1 to 20. The first thing that you need to do in order to apply conditional formatting is to select the data where you want to apply conditional formatting. Let's say I want to apply conditional formatting to any cell that is starting from here till 20. So I'll press Ctrl Shift down to select everything till the last cell. Now you need to go to conditional formatting, which lies in the Home tab. So I'll go to the Home tab. Here we have styles where we have conditional formatting. Simply click on it and it will be divided into different groups of criteria. Let's look at the first group here, which is highlight cell rules. I'll hover over it, which will in turn open up more options. The first one being greater than, which means I can format any of the cells in these bunch of selected cells if they are greater than the specified value. So let's try this out. I'll select the option of greater than and mention a value here, let's say 15. As you can see, now any value that is above 15 is being highlighted here. If I want to include 15, I can simply make this 14, which is greater than 14, and now it will include 15 as well. You can change the formatting of these cells as well. Here you have the option. So right now we are having light red filled with dark red text. Click on it and you will see different options such as yellow fill with dark yellow text like this, green fill with green text. We can just have a light red fill like this. We can go ahead with red text only and multiple other options. You can even select your own custom format by clicking on custom format and changing the way the font will be, such as the font style, the size, color, if you want underline, and so on. The border applied to the selected cells or the cells which match the criteria, the fill color, and even the number formatting in case you want to change that. Let's go ahead and use one of these options. So I'll just make the fill color as light blue, have my font as bold, and there we go. I'll click on OK. And now, as you can see, we have a light blue fill with a bold text wherever the criteria is matching. This is how conditional formatting works. I'll click on OK to apply it. If you click on cancel, the formatting will go away and won't be applied. Let's go back to conditional formatting and let's look at the second rule. Very similar, which is less than. So again, you can select a number and whatever is less than that will be automatically highlighted or formatted using conditional formatting. You can also select between. So if you want to format numbers which are between two values, let's say 15 and 20, you can do that as well. So let's take an example here. Before I click on between, what I will do is clear the existing formatting that I have from here. And the way to do it is by going to conditional formatting, clear rules, and clearing the existing applied rule to these bunch of cells. If you go to manage rules and click on it, you can see that we have one rule here which is already applied. You can select it and click on delete rule, or you can go to conditional formatting, clear rules, and clear from the selected cells. You can also clear all the rules that are there on the entire worksheet. This will clear everything that is there as conditional formatting on the entire worksheet and not just from the selected cells. So in case you want to start from scratch for the entire worksheet, this is the option to go. For now, I will select this because I want to remove only the formatting from my selected cells. Not that it makes a difference because that's the only thing that we have applied on this worksheet. So I'll select this and now the rule is gone. It has been deleted. If I go back to manage rules, you can see that now we have no conditional formatting rule applied. So let's close this. And now let's look at between. I'll select between and say between 10 and 15. So everything from 10 to 15 is now highlighted. You click on OK and that will be applied to it. For now, I will click on cancel and look at the next thing that we have. The next thing that we have is equals to. So you can simply say equals to, let's say, the number 10. And wherever we have 10, it will simply format it according to this condition. The next thing that we have is text that contains. For that, let's select the second data that we have, which is a bunch of state and union territory names in India. I'll select everything from the first cell to the last cell. Go to conditional formatting, text that contains, and let's say I select the text Pradesh here. As you can see, wherever we have Pradesh in the value, we have that highlighted. So whatever contains Pradesh, that is highlighted. It's very, very straightforward, and conditional formatting is built in that way. It's quite intuitive, and the name itself tells you what that condition will be doing. For now, I will click on cancel. Go to conditional formatting and look at the next thing, which is a date occurring. For that, I will select the third data set, which is a bunch of dates. I'll select it. Go to conditional formatting. Again, highlight cell rules and a date occurring. Select it. Here we have the option of changing it to yesterday. So if I want to highlight all the dates which are having the date as yesterday. So for example, if today is the 5th of January 2020, yesterday selection will show all the, or I would say format all the dates having 4th of January 2020. I can say today as well. Tomorrow is in the last 7 days, last week, and so on. There are tons of options that we have here. You can select any of them and apply it here. Because all these dates are not closer to the actual recording date of this lecture, if I select any of them, nothing will be highlighted because we are recording after that. So that's something that you can use in case you have recent dates. I'll click on cancel to get out of it. And let's look at the next one, which is duplicate values. For that, I'll be taking the next data set that we have here, which contains a few duplicate values. As you can see, here we have 4 repeated twice, 10 is repeated twice, and even 13 is repeated twice. In that case, if I want to highlight all the duplicates, I'll select it, go to conditional formatting, and select the option of duplicate values. What this will do is it will highlight all the values which contain duplicates, including the value itself. So now we have both the 4 highlighted, both the 10s, both the 13s, and so on. You can change this from duplicate to unique, which will do the reverse. It will highlight all the values which do not have a duplicate. You can go ahead and click on OK, and it will be saved as a permanent conditional formatting change unless and until you remove the rule. I'll go back and look at the next option. This group has been exhausted. We have looked at all the options. So let's move on to the next one, which is top bottom rules. The first one being top 10 items. So let's select our entire data from the first data set again. Go to conditional formatting and select the option of top 10 items. I'll select it, and as you can see, all the top 10 items according to values will be selected. So because here we are having data from 1 to 20, everything from 11 to 20, which is the top 10 items, will be highlighted, will be having this conditional formatting. If I make this only 5, as you can see, only the last 5 values, which is the highest 5 values, the top 5 values will be highlighted or formatted. I'll click on cancel. The next option that we have here is top 10%. What happens in top 10% is the top 10% of values will be highlighted. What is 10% of this data? Because we have 20 numbers, the top 10% will be 2 values. So the top 2 values will be highlighted. You can go to top/bottom rules, select this option, and as you can see, selecting the top 10% will result in the top 2 values being highlighted because that forms the 10% of our entire data. You can go ahead and click on OK to fix it or click on cancel. Similarly, the next 2 options are bottom 10 items or bottom 10% of items. Selecting bottom 10 will select the bottom 10 items, bottom 10% will highlight the 10% of bottom items. The next 2 options are again very similar, which is above average and below average. You can select the option of above average to highlight all the values which are above the average of this data set. What Excel will do is it will find out the average of the entire bunch of cells. Let's say the average is 8 and everything that is above 8 will be highlighted using this option. So if I select above average and click on OK, at the bottom you can see the average is 10.5. So whatever is above 10.5 will be highlighted. Whatever is below will not be highlighted. Similarly, you could have selected below average and the opposite would happen. For now, I will go ahead and clear my rules and look at the next option from the data bars, because we are done with these options, as the gradient fill or the solid fill. For that, I will select by randomized numerical values here. By selecting this and going into data bar, I see the first option as gradient fill. What exactly are data bars? Data bars are simple rectangles inserted in the bunch of selected cells, which help you visualize the number and interpret it really easily. So you can simply go to, let's say, the first one, which is just a blue data bar, and click on it, which in turn will apply a blue data bar here. So wherever we are having higher values, these values will be having a higher data bar or a longer in width data bar. Wherever we have smaller values, the data bar will be extremely small. This helps you visualize your data instead of reading out all these numbers. So instead of trying to find which numbers are big by reading each and every number, we can simply insert a data bar which will easily tell us, alright, 18 is the biggest, we have 17 very big, 17 yo, 17 yo, and so on. And these are the small values, which is 1, 1, here we have 3, again 4, 3, 6, all these are small values. So that's something that we can do in case we want to interpret our numerical data really quickly and easily. There are different variations when it comes to color for data bar. So you can go to data bar and change it to a green data bar, a red data bar, and so on. So there are multiple options in the gradient fill. If you don't want a gradient fill, you can also have a solid fill. So switching from the blue gradient fill to a blue solid fill will insert solid bars or rectangles for each of my cells. That is the only difference between the gradient and the solid fill. Let's go ahead and clear this rule again. And now let's look at the next option, which is color scales. Color scales also help you interpret your numerical data and read it very easily. Instead of applying rectangles or data bars to your bunch of cells, what it does is it uses a palette, that is a color scale, in order to visualize the data. Let's take an example of the first one, which is a green, yellow, red color scale. You select it, and now a green, yellow, red color scale is applied. Wherever we have higher numbers, higher numerical values, that will have the green color, as you can see, yo, and yo. Whatever is there in the middle will be having yellow color, and whatever is towards the lower end will be having the red color, as you can see. And we have different color shades of the same colors. So we do not have exactly red in all the places. Depending on the value, we will be having shades of green, yellow, and red. For example, here we have 17 as a darker red, darker green, and here we have 15, which is a little bit of a lighter green as compared to this. So again, it is a scale of values and not a 3-color palette. It's a scale that is being applied here. You can use this scale instead of the data bar to visualize and understand your data as well. For example, this also gives me a hint that these numbers are big. This is also a big number, this one, and even these two. And the lower numbers are 3, 1, 1, and even all these. So this is how we can use a color scale as well. Let's select our data. Again, go to conditional formatting, clear rules, and clear everything from the selected cells. And look at the next few options in color scales. The next few options are the exact same as the first option, with just the colors being different. Here we have a green, yellow, red. Here we have the opposite, red, yellow, green. So the higher values will be having red color, lower will be having green color. You can choose to have a green, white, red color scale and multiple other options as well in case you want to apply it. You can go to more rules and also change the different colors that you have here in case you want to go funky and have your own custom color. The next thing that we have is icon sets. If you want to apply icons based on values, you can select the option of icon sets. You can simply go to icon sets, and let's say I select the first one, which is 3 arrows. What this will do is it will apply these arrows to my data. Here at the lower number, I will have down arrows. Values in the middle will be having going to conditional formatting, manage rules, and here we have the rule being applied. Select the rule and click on edit rule to see what is happening behind the scenes. Here, as you can see at the bottom, we have the green up arrow applied whenever the value is equal to or above 67% of our values. You can change the type from a percent to a number, formula, or even a percentile. And you can obviously change the value as well from here. You can change the sign as well, such as equal to, greater than, equal to, and things like that. For the first one, let's change this to a value, that is a number, and have the up arrow in all the places where the value is either equal to 15 or greater than 15. Then we need to have the yellow arrow where the value is greater than or equal to, let's say, 10. And again, I will change the type to a number. And wherever we have, let me just change this back to 10. And wherever we have less than 10, we will have a down arrow. So you can specify this as well in case you want to. Here we have the reverse icon order in case you want to reverse this order, that is the green going at the bottom and the red going at the top. You can also select the option of show icon only. What this will do is it will only show the icons and not the real values in case you don't want to see them. Here we have this. We can click on OK and click on apply to apply it. Then click on OK once it is applied. And now you can see wherever we are having values above or equal to 15, we are having the up arrow. Between 10 to 14, including 10 and 14, we are having the yellow arrow, and everything else will be a down arrow. This is how icon sets work. On the similar lines, you can have different icons as well. So in case you want to apply these icons, you can do that. You can apply shapes, indicators, ratings, but all of them will work on the same logic. It will require a number, percentile, or even a formula to determine how to add the icon to the bunch of cells. So you can switch from this to, let's say, this one. Let's select our data again, conditional formatting, and change it to this. Click on it, and now the icons have changed. You can change the logic of how these icons are applied by again going to manage rules, selecting this, edit rule, and changing this as well. I'll leave it up to you to try all these icons out because all of them are very similar. So let's not spend a lot of time on them, and let's move on to the next option that we have, which is new rule. We have looked at clear rules and manage rules earlier. The only thing that is remaining is new rule. Before I go to new rule, I'll clear the formatting from my selected cells, and now I will go to new rule. This will allow me to insert a new rule on my own without the help of any of these groups. So I can simply go to new rule. Here again we have all the options that we earlier had a look at. So we can format all the cells based on their values and apply a 2-color scale, as you can see. We can apply a data bar in case we want to. And we can apply 3-color scale and icon sets as well. As you can see, all these are just things that we have seen earlier. This is what we have seen. We can also say format only contains the only cells that contain a particular value. So we can say between 10 to 15, equal to 10, not between 10 to 15, greater than 10, and so on. And then select the format of how we want it, and then click on OK to apply it. Again, something that we have seen earlier. Next, we have top or bottom values, which we have seen as a part of the group. We have format only values that are above or below average. Again, that we have seen. Only unique or duplicate values. Again, we have seen that earlier. But what we haven't seen is the last thing that we have, which is use a formula to determine which cells to format. So here I can use a formula in order to select the condition for my formatting. I can say is equal to 10. And go to format, change the formatting to, let's say, yellow fill, and click on OK. So wherever the values are equal to 10, or let's make this 17 for now, and click on OK. Wherever we have, oops, there we go, clear rules from selected cells. Again, go to new rule and use a formula. We need to mention is equal to the cell that is the first cell of our selected data. That's something that we didn't do earlier. So let's do that. We say is equal to J3, that is the first cell of our selected data range, is equal to 10. What this will do is it will start from J3 and then move down. So we need to give it a starting point, which we didn't do earlier. We simply mentioned 10 earlier, but where to check the 10 properly wasn't mentioned. So here we have mentioned is equal to J3 should be equal to 10. We simply provide it the starting cell and it will start going downwards from there. So it will have J3, J4, J5 and so on one by one. It will test this first, format it if it matches the criteria, second if it matches the criteria, third, fourth and so on till the last cell of our selected range. Once you do that, you can go ahead and select a formatting. Let's go with green formatting this time. Okay, and click on OK. And now as you can see, wherever we have 10, we have the formatting applied. So make sure to add the starting cell in order to add a formula to your data. Similarly, I can select this and mention a formula by going to new rule, use a formula to determine and type in is equal to the first cell, which is D3. I'll type in D3 here, equals to in double quotations Delhi. Go to format and change this to, let's say, a very bright blue color. Click on OK. Click on OK. And now wherever we have Delhi, which in this case is only one cell, will be highlighted. Let's take one last example by selecting this data. Go into conditional formatting, new rule, and now let's apply a formula to highlight everything that is about 10. So I'll go here, type in is equal to B3. As you can see, that's the first cell of our data, greater than 10. I'll go to format. This time select, let's say, this color. Click on OK. And now click on OK to apply it. In case you want to include the 10 as well, you can simply make it greater than equal to 10 and click on OK. Now as you can see, everything including 10 to 20, which is about 10, will be highlighted or formatted with the pink, or I would say the purple formatting that you have selected in the format options. This is how conditional formatting works. Now that we have laid the groundwork of heat maps by understanding conditional formatting, in the next lecture, we will be creating a chart which uses conditional formatting in its system. That's it for this lecture, and I'll see you in the next one.